Let me start by introducing you to Bill Gross. Bill is the chairman of Idealab, which is a technology incubator in the US founded back in 1996. They have created over 150 companies since their inception, with more than 45 of them making it to an IPO or an acquisition. For a business geek like me, figures like that make my heart sing. Bill gave a neat talk at TED Talks back in 2015. With over 4 million views, the talk is a brilliant shot in the arm for any idea-driven entrepreneur. As one myself, the talk made me feel validated, and somehow seeing an unassuming man talk so big gave me courage to keep creating. I seriously recommend you give the video a watch after this one, of course. In his study of what makes a business successful, Bill analyzed a portfolio of 200 companies to better understand what makes a business a success. Bill defined 5 factors which he identified as key. First, the idea. This is the differentiating factor that makes your business stand out from what is available in the market already. A good idea often has elements that will give your business a competitive edge in the marketplace and are based on a better understanding of the customer's needs. A recent example of a business with a fantastic idea is Webflow. Webflow is a website building tool for which you need no code. But rather than focusing on the inexperienced website creator like Wix and Squarespace, Webflow has chosen to target the designer market. This idea to position the business so has meant that they can tap into a whole new market space, and in doing so have managed to double its customer base in 2020, achieving a $2.1 billion market value this January gone. 2, we have the team in charge of execution. This factor is all about the efficiency and effectiveness of the people driving your business forward, as well as their adaptability to change. At Amazon, for instance, save for Bezos' recent change from being chief executive to becoming executive chairman, the company's upper organizational chart has remained largely unchanged. What this signals to me is that Amazon has managed to find and attract a team that fits its business vision well. The proof is in the pudding, with the business busting through barriers of what is expected of it and continually providing added value to its stakeholders. Number 3, we have the business model. The business model breaks down the way in which customer revenues are generated. A well-balanced model considers partners, activities, resources, the business value proposition, customer relationships, distribution channels, customer segments, cost structure, and revenue streams. Apple is a fantastic example of a healthy business model that has not only found its customer base, but one that is bringing in revenue from multiple well-established streams. Their business model is frankly fantastic. 4th, we have funding. The funding factor talks to the capital injections into the business at different stages, such as the initial investment and growth phases. We've all heard the stories of the next up-and-coming unicorn business that has raised X million dollars at their next round of funding. It definitely seems managing to convince someone to invest in your business is a strong signal for the market about your bright future. 5, we have timing. This factor assesses the marketplace where the business is operating in and asks the question, is the market ready for what you want to deliver? Are you way too early, on time, or too late? Facebook, for instance, came at a time when personal computers were in everyone's home and phone technology was ready to welcome smartphone systems. The timing lent itself to the takeoff of a social network like Facebook. Okay, so now you know the 5 factors and what they represent. Let's play a game. Take a moment and please write in the comment section below what you think the order of importance of each of these factors is. Now I know there's going to be a good few of you who will just ignore me, but seriously, the next part will mean a lot more if you take a second and apply your thoughts to what I've explained so far. If it makes it easier for you, I will tell you my list. So first, I would say idea. If you don't have the right idea, you can forget it. What are we even doing this all for? Second, I would probably go for funding. If you don't have the resources, even a good idea can run out of fuel. Then, third, I'd go for team and execution. You've got the idea, you've got the money, you need the people. 4th, this was a harder one. I think I'd probably put business model. above timing, yeah, you need to make sure your business is structured well. Otherwise, bad admin, I guess, could topple the whole plan. And then fifth, I would put timing. I think the chances are you'll only really think of an idea when there is a space for it and there's a need in the marketplace. So I don't think it's that much of an issue. Okay, now you pause this video over this slide and please write your list in the comment section below and post it. So hopefully you've joined in. Let's see how your list compares with Bill Gross's final order.
I tried to look at what factors actually accounted the most for success and failure across all these companies, and the results really surprised me. The number one thing was timing. Timing accounted for 42% of the difference between success and failure. Team and execution came in second, and the idea, the differentiability of the idea, the uniqueness idea, that actually came in third. Now, this isn't absolutely definitive. It's not to say that the idea isn't important. But it very much surprised me that the idea wasn't the most important thing. Sometimes it mattered more when it was actually timed. The last two, business model and funding, made sense to me, actually. I think business model makes sense to be that low because you could start out without a business model and then add one later if your customers are demanding what you're creating. And funding, I think as well. If you're underfunded at first, but you're gaining traction, especially in today's age, it's very, very easy to get intense funding. So now let me give you some specific examples about each of these. So take a wild success like Airbnb, everybody knows about. Well, that company was famously passed on by many smart investors because people thought, no one's going to rent out a space in their home to a stranger. Well, of course, people proved that wrong. But one of the reasons it succeeded, aside from a good business model, a good idea, great execution, is the timing. That company came out right during the height of the recession when people really needed extra money. And that maybe helped people overcome their objection to renting out their own home to a stranger. Same thing with Uber. Uber came out, incredible company, incredible business model, great execution too, but the timing was so perfect for their need to get drivers into the system. Drivers were looking for extra money. It was very, very important.
Timing? That's the most important factor? Mind blown. I don't know about you, but that really shook all the assumptions I have about what building a successful business would look like. Anyway, once I managed to pick my mouth up from the floor, I took some time and thought about how we can translate this analysis into practical steps for business leaders like us to apply to what we are creating. First things first, we need to stop thinking about these 5 factors as separate considerations. They are all elements of the same picture. Let's start by making timing the setting. The setting is the landscape, the weather, the vibe, the feel of the whole thing. Then, let's think of the team as the driver and her co-navigator. Then, there's the idea. This can be her destination or the vision of where she wants to go. Then we have the business model. That can be the car. Last, we have the funding. This is the full tank of fuel that gets that baby on the open road. If we miss any of these factors, you can be sure we won't be going anywhere. In this picture of harmonious synergy, there is one major element that we have little influence over: the setting. Just like timing, it is what it is. We would be much better placed if we could take a second to analyze the setting we were hoping to navigate, so we choose the best tools to move our way through it. Are you getting it? The more you know about the timing of the marketplace you want to trade in, the better you can craft and build your business, and so the greater the chances of it succeeding. So this begs the question, how do we assess the timing? The answer I found is in the art of making the perfect Punjabi pakoda. Insert picture here. This is where I would have actually shown you a proper Punjabi pakoda, but the truth is I made some for this scene and I ate them, forgetting about this scene. So there's no Punjabi pakoda to show you right now. A Punjabi pakoda is a crispy, spicy ball of battered onions, potatoes, and spices. The art of making them is dependent on the oil you fry them in. You can have the perfect mix of ingredients, but if you fry them in an oil that isn't the right temperature, you can take my word of it, you're headed for disappointment. So what have our mothers and grandmothers taught us? Check the oil. You do this by dropping a few droplets of the batter in the oil, and if it rises up, it's game time. And it's come to the top. It's game time. Before we try to build our picture of harmonious synergy for our business, we will have to do the same thing. Check the setting. We do this with the good old build, test, and listen protocol. 1. Build a quick and dirty minimum viable product. 2. Test the minimum viable product in the real marketplace your business will be operating in. 3. Listen to what the market is really telling you. Focus on the actions more than the words. Bill Gross gives a fantastic explanation of this in one of his talks.
And boy, wouldn't it be great if you could just go to a website, type in the configuration you want, I'm willing to wait, I'll put $1,000 down, just have the car show up in a flatbed truck at my house, and I'll pay the balance when it gets here. And I don't even care if I pay a little bit over invoice. I don't need the absolute best deal. I'd like a good deal, but I'm willing to wait. So they can make a profit on me because they don't have to worry about holding the car in the lot anymore. Well, I wanted that. I didn't know if anybody else wanted that. And we wanted to find out if that was a worthwhile business. And we ran it by other people. A lot of people said, no, I wouldn't do that. No, I need to test drive it. I said, well, I think there's some people who don't need to test drive it. They know what kind of car they want. They've ridden in the car before. Someone else had the car, whatever. Let's just find out. Well, how can we find out easily? So we formed a company called Cars Direct. We were going to test this in only 90 days. Rather than capitalizing with the whole $250,000, we just capitalized with $50,000 just to try the test. And we would invest the whole $250,000 if the test worked. If the test didn't work, we would stop. But nobody would lose. We'd only lose $50,000. That'd be the maximum of this test. So we hired a person to come run the test for us, and he was going to become CEO if we decided to go forward. He wasn't going to lose his job if the test didn't go forward. He was just going to work on some other project with us. So that was important. So there was no worry about him biasing the test or anything like that. He started working on it, and he started working on building out the website. And after about 20, 30 days, I met with him, and he said, well, I'm working on the website. I'm also talking to suppliers. I have a meeting with Ford, a meeting with Honda. I said, what are you talking to Ford and Honda for? This is why I got to be able to get the cars. He said, we're not going to actually have a relationship with the companies. We're just going to go down to the Monrovia Auto Mall and buy a car at retail and sell it at a loss to the customer. We'll lose $1,500 in the car, but we just need to find out if people want to do this. Okay, I'll stop talking to them. So then 30 days later, I met with them. Okay, now I'm working on the configurator where people can choose the drop downs and choose their options in their car. It's a lot of work because I have to make sure all the options match up. Some options are not possible, like you can't get the seat heaters. Don't worry about that. Just let the person type in what they want. We're going to have a person in the back, sort of like a Wizard of Oz, who's just going to be behind the curtain and just take the printout and just go down and buy that. If the car's not possible, write the person back. We'll tell them that's not a possible car. Stop building a configurator, which is a lot of work if we don't even need that. So I kept on having to try to convince them, stop building things we don't need just to get the answer to this test. So like on the 80th day of this 90-day period, I said, just put the site live and let's just see what happens. So I remember on a Thursday, he put the site live. And I came in the next morning. I said, what happened? Did anything happen? And he says, yeah, we sold 4 cars. I said, hurry up and turn the site off because we were losing $1,500 on each car. And I said, but it worked. People put $1,000 in for a car, sight unseen. They want the car. We'll go buy it. We'll deliver it. We'll complete the customer experience. But I think we have a yes. This is a go.
As of today, my team and I are currently considering 3 new business ideas. You can bet your bottom dollar before we make any fancy business plans, expensive websites, hire any major recruits, or seek out any funding, all of our efforts are going to be centered around building the 3 minimum viable products for these ideas. As soon as they are finished, they will be launched and tested, and you can be sure that we'll be listening to the results to help inform our next steps. Can I suggest you think about doing the same? Thank you, Bill Gross. If you're still watching, thank you so very much. I'm busy thinking about what I should be talking about next. Maybe I could go into details about minimum viable products, or is there something else that you'd like me to cover? Do let me know below. And if this sort of content is your flavor, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It lets me know I'm on the right track. Hi, this is the Punjabi Pakoda 101. Commitment to the cause. Dun dun. So, we have gram flour, water, yogurt, a little bit of tomato ketchup. That's a secret, makes it crispy. Then all the spices, long cut onions, spinach, thin cut potatoes, a little bit of cauliflower that's left over in the fridge. Mix it all together and you've got your batter. Then you fry. Why? Because it's Friday. Literally, it's Friday.